Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Champions League, quarter-final. It doesn't get any bigger than this. This is the biggest game of the season. I often get criticised for saying that, but we haven't really heard it for a while. I remember last year, as we got in towards FA Cup semi-finals, FA Cup finals, the latter rounds of the Champions League, and the fact that top four wasn't secured, every game from about this moment onwards last season was the biggest game of the season. And it's no different this year. Chelsea competing again for the biggest honours in European football, the biggest honour in club football. And tonight, we are blessed with a draw that is just, to me, the most beautiful draw you can get as a Chelsea fan. We're the European champions. Real Madrid, a club with the biggest, richest history in this competition. It's mouth-watering. It gets you off your seat. It gets you excited. And there's also caveats to add in that Chelsea are the only team that Real Madrid haven't beaten. Having played 5 matches against us in competitive football, 2 of which were last season, Real Madrid are yet to win. Now, I know I've said that, and I know immediately some of you will be thinking, why did you even bring this up? Well, what it does is it adds a bit of spice. It adds a bit more of a flame to what is already an absolutely scintillating matchup. Chelsea-Real Madrid last season was incredibly close. It was the moment where, even though it was the semi-final, this year it's the quarter-final, it's the moment where this Chelsea team became of age. We beat Atletico Madrid, and having watched those 2 games back, you think, well, actually, we dominated them in both games. Porto, you expect Chelsea to get through. Real Madrid, with a young team, at the time with a very new manager, it was the moment where the real test came, and it was the moment that we get ourselves to a final and we start to believe and know that something special is about to happen. And this, again today, Chelsea, we got through the last 16 game against Lille. This against Real Madrid now is going to be incredibly difficult. I think they've gone on a lot further from where they were last season. I think some of the players that were kind of looking to be seen as those new Galacticos. Vinicius Jr.'s in brilliant form at the moment. Benzema, I would go as far as to say, the best number 9 in world football at this moment in time, dismantled Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16 in what was probably the most mouth-watering tie. Chelsea, we beat Lille, it was comfortable, but this is going to be a serious challenge. And when we throw it back to just a couple of days ago, I made another video after 6 things we learned after Brentford. Won't be doing that after a defeat again because you guys didn't want it. And to be honest, I don't even know why. I was just in a bit of a panic mode, thinking if all of this noise off the field gets any more aggressive and we see another performance like we did against Brentford, then we can be really screwed. But the beauty of how Chelsea is so successful is that when you get a result like that, you don't have to wait till next weekend for another game. We're not Arsenal. We don't play once a week. We are playing the biggest team in Europe, Real Madrid, but we're the champions. And I believe tonight we can go out there, get a good result to take a lead into the second leg in the Bernabeu. Fans are back at Stamford Bridge, and it's one of those days today where I'm a bit like, I wish I was at home. I made the choice to live here, can't complain, but it's nights like this tonight at the Bridge. Quarterfinals, Real Madrid are in town. It's going to be something very, very special indeed. But we move into my lineup. Before we do get into that, if you guys can hit the like button on this video, subscribe if you are new. Match review, 6 things we learned will be out straight after the game tonight. If we can hit 2,000 likes before kickoff, I am a very happy man. We begin with the man who was just sublime against Real Madrid last season, Edouard Mendy. Against Brentford, can't really fault him for too much. He had a couple of dodgy passes in the first half, but I feel as though there was a little bit of something in everybody's drink before the game yesterday. Brentford at the weekend. So we can't really look at Mendy and think that, a bit dodgy form. There isn't really any chance that Kepa's going to play in this one. Mendy last season against Real Madrid. The save from Benzema is arguably as important as any of the goals we scored to get us into the final. Mendy's been in brilliant form in this competition. He's got to begin in goal. We move into a back 3. This was, for me, the only real complicated part here because Reece James came on at left wing back against Brentford. We didn't want to start him in that game because we've got an eye on this match against Real Madrid. Reece has got to come on because Alonso was so poor. But even though I would like to see Aspi right wing back, Reece James left wing back, I think just because of how good Reece James is on that right hand side, we've got to use him in his best position. But Reece has got to start on the right wing-back position for me. So Aspi, Silva, Rudiger has got to be the back three. We've got experience there in that back three. And unfortunately, it does mean that Alonso is at left wing-back. But the funniest thing about Alonso is against teams like Brentford, he comes unstuck. But then you look at him against Liverpool in a Carabao Cup final, and I would go as far as to say that Liverpool team is actually better than the Real Madrid team we're going to face tonight if Alonso can show up in this game and not put in a Brentford-esque kind of performance. Then with Reece on the right, Alonso on the left, I still think Chelsea can create enough going forward to score more than Real Madrid. I think there's going to be goals tonight. I think Real Madrid will score. I think Benzema, there's too much quality there. Of course, there's no Eden Hazard. He's out for the rest of the season. And I'm kind of glad for today that Hazard can't play. Anytime he's not playing against Chelsea for Real Madrid, I'd absolutely love to see him on the field. Don't wish an injury upon anyone. But tonight, even though he probably wouldn't have started, I think it's good that Eden Hazard can't even get close to playing against Chelsea. Because I think at the moment, with all of the narratives we've got going on, if Hazard was to score a goal against us in the Champions League, I think it would push us over the edge. So, Reece James, Alonso, and in the middle of that midfield, if it looks like a 3-4-3, Kante, Kovacic. I'd go as far as to say that Mateo Kovacic has overtaken Kante in terms of Chelsea's most important midfielder. He's the most consistent this season, but N'Golo Kante, I say it every time, people write him off after one bad game, and then all of a sudden, he throws in a man of the match performance in a big game. And I would not be remotely surprised if when I sat here in 6 Things We Learn, or probably be downstairs, I usually watch it on the big TV, record downstairs, I wouldn't even be remotely surprised if we're sitting here saying, N'Golo Kante, man of the match in a massive Champions League game again. He's still got it. He's 31 years old, but people are writing this guy off far too quickly. The only concern I've got about Kante is that the inconsistency with that top quality performance has become ever so slightly greater, which is a concern, also expected as he gets older, but then we've got Conor Gallagher to come back next season, so we shouldn't be worried about it. But for now, the double K, Kovacic-Kante partnership, that's what I go for. Jorginho, he's out of form. He's obviously going to be very unhappy about what happened with Italy not making the World Cup. And I wouldn't risk starting him in this game. As much as he is a big personality, he's a big game player, Kante and Kovacic have got to start this one for me. You get a good mix of both things in there. And I don't think there's anyone in the world managing a team with N'Golo Kante in it who could even consider not starting him if he's fit in a Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid. Let me know if you think I'm missing a trick here. If you think Jorginho's got to start, let me know in the comments below. Ruben, I wouldn't even consider Ruben for this game. I don't think Tuchel would either. Maybe off the bench to bring on a bit of physicality if needed. But those three, they're all technical enough, and I think that is the kind of approach Tuchel will take in this game. We move into the front three. You'd have thought, Champions League quarter-final, you spend 100 mil on Lukaku, he's got to start. However, he doesn't start this one, and it's Kai Havertz through the middle. Havertz, I thought, had a decent game against Brentford. Not his best, by a long shot. We were awful. Straight up. But I don't think he was bad. Christian Pulisic, Mason Mount, either side of him, these two lit up the bridge last season against Real Madrid, and they've got to start again. Christian Pulisic wasn't ready for the weekend, understandably so, because he got back from the US, played a game like a day before the game against Brentford. So now he's back. He's in amazing form. He was looking very good for us before the internationals. Scored a hat-trick for the USA in their final, well, the game before the final qualifying match. And he's got to play. I think if Pulisic's in form, he could run rings around this Real Madrid defence. And the same goes for Mason Mount as well. That combination of that front three, with Reece James coming down the right, that is where Chelsea win this game. If Kante and Kovacic can hold down that midfield, which we know is so impeccably strong for Real Madrid, I think they can, and then the difference will be whether or not we can make the most of those attacking players. If they can interlink together, change around a little bit so Real Madrid defenders don't know what's coming, and then you've got the likes of Lukaku off the bench. Timo Werner was good against Real Madrid last season, But after what we saw at the weekend, can't really sit here and say today that he's going to be a game changer for us, but you never know. Chelsea's bench is full of quality. This starting 11 up on the screen now is full of quality, and I believe has enough to beat Real Madrid. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here for the score in this game. I think there's going to be goals here, you know. As much as Chelsea are pretty good defensively in the Champions League, we often go with more like 1-0, 2-0 kind of results. I'm going to say 3-2 Chelsea, which is a massive win, and it gives us the advantage going to the Bernabeu. But I just see Real Madrid scoring. I think the result at the weekend, as much as I don't think we're going to take all of that into this game, it will be a bit more worrying for Chelsea. As for my goal scorers, I think Rudiger's going to score another one, you know. He had so many chances in that game against Brentford. Of course, the goal he scored was absolutely sensational, phenomenal, unreal. I think he might score again, you know. And I'm also going to say Christian Pulisic's going to get one. And then I think Mateo Kovacic might score against his old team. I know that is an incredibly bold goal-scoring prediction, but I'm flipping buzzing for this. This is what we live for as football fans. Champions League, quarter-final, Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, Real Madrid. It doesn't get bigger. Cannot wait to watch this game tonight. 3 a.m. for me. But yeah, 6 things we learned straight after, and I just pray that it's a positive one. We've got to make sure, regardless of anything, that we go to the Bernabeu knowing we're still in the tie. I think we're going to win, but that is the bare minimum. Thank you guys for watching. Love you all. See you later. Come on, you Blues.